I have been experiencing such a mind game lately, and I don't know if anybody on here is dealing with something that just is relentless in your mind, and it has to do with people and behaviors and all those things. And I was sitting outside yesterday morning, and the Lord gave me something to hang on to, and it encouraged me, although it's not exactly what I wanted to hear or what I could do. In my mind, I don't know if you ever do this, play out conversations about what I'll say this, I'll do this, they'll say that, and you kind of have it planned out about what you feel like you need to say. But I was sitting outside early yesterday morning. I could just feel the calming of the Lord reminding me to remain silent, to not get engaged, you'll get enraged, to not do that. And I kept thinking, but shouldn't I say something? Isn't it my responsibility to say something? And here's some things that he gave me. Anything I think about or talk about more than Jesus, it's a problem. It is like me literally taking God off the throne and putting my issue and my problem on there because I'm obsessing about it, thinking about it, and making it more important than anything. In all my conversations, if I talk about it to everyone, I'm putting it before God. That's hard and that hurts. And then I want to think about humility. A good dose of humility doesn't taste good, but it puts us in a position, most often a kneeling position or sometimes flat on our face position, but it's a great reminder for us to realize who we are and whose we are. We are the daughter of the King, and we are, think about the royal blood and the royalty now that runs through us and is inherited. We're inherited to that. Then it also allows us to see clearly, because if we remain silent, if we humble ourselves, if we wait for God in due time to do his thing, if we wait for all those things, it'll be less stressful and it'll be done correctly. So when we decide to get engaged, I always say, well, you get engaged, you get enraged. But when we decide to try to put ourselves in that situation, to try to fix it, to say something that they need to hear, the first thing you have to know is that if they're not ready to receive it, they won't hear it no matter what you say or do. But here's what the Lord gave me. When we engage, we are exercising our lack of faith and not giving God credit and not allowing him to continue to do the work. I thought about that so much. It's like, if I get involved and I try to make it right or try to make it better or do something, then I'm not giving God credit. I'm telling God to sit out on the sidelines and let me do this. And I realize there are times in life that we must speak up and we may say things and do things. But if you find yourself in a position where you're angry, you're frustrated, you're aggravated, and you just don't understand, if you don't understand, then seek the one who understands and knows all things. The point is, before you step out, before you move, before you execute your plan, don't get ahead of God. When we get ahead of God, we often make a lot of mistakes. And it takes a lot longer, just like with Sarah and Abraham, to get to God's blessing. We have to trust him. We have to pray and get out of his way. We have to realize that he is the author and the finisher of our faith, and that he already knows what 2 weeks from now holds. We need to trust him. I feel like what he gave me is like when I inject myself and do those things, there's a bee out here. When I inject myself and do those things, I'm not giving him my full capacity of faith and trust to deal with the situation the right way. Because sometimes our emotions and our heart and our mind and the enemy cause us to have a wrong perspective of things. And I want the right perspective. And when you get on your knees in humility and you come to God completely empty, saying, I have nothing, God. I have nothing to offer, nothing to do, nothing like that. When you do that, the only place that you're able to look is up. And when your attention and your focus is continually on him, then it's not going to be on the other thing. So when you catch yourself today thinking about that thing, immediately turn and think about God. Like the song says, all I have is a hallelujah. Give him praise. Praise and be raised. Complain and remain. Think about those things. Stop using your tongue to tear down the situation, but use your tongue to build up the kingdom by praising God. It's hard when you're hurt. It's hard when your heart's about to bust. But if I could say anything to anybody, Exodus 14:14 says, if you remain silent, I will fight for you. I use that verse so much. But the Lord lately, this past year, has taught me the power of silence, the power of not getting engaged. Use this today. Be encouraged. Try to shift your thinking, your talking, your mindset, and your heart to the things of God. Put him back on the throne where he belongs. Because the thing that we're going through is in no comparison to God and the power of his majesty. Let's get our priorities straight. Let's get our perspective straight. Let's kneel and look up. Let's come to him empty-handed so he can fill our hands. Let's never neglect the fact that God already knows what's best. But sometimes we don't allow ourselves to see his best because we make a mess. Let's today realize who we are, who has the power over everything. We need to realize today that he is the great I am. He is the King of Kings. He holds the keys to death and hell. He can surely handle the situation. We trust him with our salvation, but it seems we have so little trust when it comes to our situation. Our salvation is much more valuable and important than our situation. Today I want to encourage you to trust him, to take a step back, to kneel, to look up, to praise, to not get engaged, to remain silent, to walk with eyes wide open so you can see his glory, so that we can give him the glory from our story.